All right, what's going on, family? What's good? What's good? It feel good to be back. Share this video. Let's get this party rolling. Let's get this party rolling. Get some people up in here. So, listen, man. I've been wanting to touch up on this subject for a long time, and we here now. I've been wanting to touch up on this subject for a long time. It gets a little complicated. It gets a little complicated because it's always that question. Is the seedless fruits, do they have any nutritional value? Is it less nutritional value? Is it more things of the nature? Okay. So look, this is what we're gonna do. I'm not even gonna waste y'all time right quick. I'm gonna just give y'all the rundown and then we're gonna get into breaking this stuff down. So we're gonna do a little bit of reading, show a little video, we're gonna do things like that. Share this video, family. All right. So this is what it comes down to. So you got two different ways this can happen, okay, with the grapes, okay, or let's just say with the fruits. But for the sake of this video, let's talk about the grapes, right? So you got what they call parthenocarpy, and then you got what they call stenospermocarpy. All right, parthenocarpy and then stenospermocarpy. Okay, these are the two different ones, right? So parthenocarpy and stenospermocarpy. Parthenocarpy and stenospermocarpy. That's what you got. I know the words are kind of long and it sound crazy, but that's just what it is. So in the case of grapes, okay, and just seedless fruits, let me give you a rundown, an example of what parthenocarpy is and stenospermocarpy is. So parthenocarpy is a situation where, okay, you can have a fruit, okay, you can have a fruit that basically grows without pollination, okay. It basically grows without pollination, all right, and it basically grows without fertilization. That's basically what it is. So it don't need to be pollinated, it don't need no fertilization, okay. That's parthenocarpy. This happens in nature. It's a genetic mutation that happens, but it just happens in nature. It's very rare that it happens in nature, but it happens. So that's parthenocarpy. So let me give you an example. So cucumbers, they will produce, okay, what they call parthenocarpy. All right. So in other words, they do not need to be pollinated. They do not need to be fertilized, okay, to grow seeds. Okay. So what farmers will do is they will take these parthenocarpy plants and then they will put them in the greenhouse. They will put them in the greenhouse, and as they go in this greenhouse, this is how they continue to grow. All right. So once these plants grow and then they bear the fruit, guess what? The fruit is seedless. That's how that goes. Parthenocarpy. You can look this up. So they have to make sure that they can't grow they cannot grow the plant in the wild. They cannot grow the plant in the open, because if any fertilization come around, right, or gets on it, if the bees pollinate the plant, then the plant will grow the seeds, okay, or the fruit will grow the seeds. So parthenocarpy is an example for that is the cucumbers. Cucumbers grow, okay, without fertilization, without being pollinated. Very important to understand, okay? And then you got stenospermocarpy, okay, or stenospermocarpy. Now, what stenospermocarpy is when you have a fruit, okay, that is fertilized, that's pollinated, that's both, okay? They're both pollinated, both fertilized, okay? The plant is both, all right? But guess what? When the plant starts to bear its fruit, before that seed and that fruit can grow, okay, into a mature seed, the seed does like an abortion. It's aborted, okay? So that seed never grows to a fully mature seed. And this is what we're dealing with. So we see the fruits in the stores, right? We see the fruits in the store. For the sake of this conversation, we see the grapes. We see the grapes in the store, and we ask ourselves, okay, the seedless grapes, are they genetically modified? Are they GMOs? And to answer that question, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no. Okay, they're not genetically modified. Now, when it comes to the nutritional value, that's, we'll dig into that. We'll get into that. But again, you have what they call parthenocarpy and spermacarpy. That's the two different ones. So let me backtrack a little bit. So this is what farmers would do. Farmers would bring bees. Okay, farmers would bring bees into their farm. The bees would be let loose. Okay, let out, and the bees will go and pollinate and fertilize the female plant, because the female plant is what carries the eggs. Okay, once that female plant is pollinated, okay, and fertilized, then that's what allows the plant, whatever fruit is being is buried from that plant. That's what allows that fruit to do what? Grow seeds. But with parthenocarpy, for an example, cucumbers grow from no fertilization. They don't need to be pollinated. They don't need fertilization. Okay, seedless cucumbers will grow like this, and that's what they call parthenocarpy. All right, but if they want to continue this process, what they will have to do is put the cucumbers in the greenhouse, the plants. They will have to put the plants in the greenhouse and avoid the fertilization, and then that's how the process continues. And all they do from there is take cuttings. They take cuttings from that plant. Okay, they take cuttings from that plant, and then they just put it in root hormone. Okay, and then there you go. Another plant is comes up or whatnot, and that's how that goes. So then you got stenospermacarpy. Stenospermacarpy is when you have fruit. Okay, in the case of the grapes, they both will be fertilized and pollinated. Okay, so the plant will be fertilized and pollinated, but before the seed can mature is aborted. Before the seed can mature is aborted, and that's how that goes. So, again, in the case of it being GMO, in the case of it, being either or, that's what we're dealing with. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring my good brother on, right? I'm gonna bring my good brother on. I see him at the bottom, and we're gonna talk about this because he's the reason why I'm actually doing this video. He inspired me from his post, and just want to bring some clarity. When we're gonna build, we're gonna network. So give me a second, family. What's going on, King?
What's up, bro? How's everything, man?
Everything good, man. Everything good.
Awesome, man. How's your sound on your end?
Everything good. Everything good on my end.
It's good on my side too, man. First off, I want to thank you, man, for allowing me to share the platform with you to talk about this topic because, it's been something that I've been studying the past few months and just getting more clarity on it because it's a much larger topic that's at hand dealing with GMOs, and it's a lot of things that people in our community don't just understand exactly what's going on. What is a genetic modified organism, and how does it relate to nutrition, health, and everything else? So when the topic of grapes comes up, we all see these things. We see these green seedless grapes, and we see the red seeded grapes. Now we see these things, but we don't actually understand how it works or how the behind the scenes process happens for it to actually get to the actual supermarket before we actually purchase it and become a consumer. And the main thing that the post that you were referencing a couple of days ago, it was just about the manipulation of grapes and how they're processed. And I agree with you, like we had that conversation afterwards, that grapes are not genetically modified as if how other plants or other crops like corn or soy is genetically modified. But I do believe at some stage it's manipulated to get the traits that we desire, which is seedless, and have the flavor profile that the actual farmer or the corporation has, and that they want to appeal to the customer. And in turn, it affects us like with the nutrition because we should know and understand that fruits with seeds in them they are able to grab and hold on to more energy and more more nutrients, which in turn will make it more nutritious for us. So understanding the direct play and how it works, and the word play behind everything, genetically modified and how those things go, it's really a fence that we have to straddle and understand, because when it comes down to GMO foods, that whole industry is growing and developing, and it's really a thin line where we really have to take our time and research and understand which items are genetically modified and how these items can directly affect us.
Facts, facts. Yeah, you couldn't lay it down any better. But definitely. So basically, this conversation is about clarity. It's not about who's right and who's wrong.
Right.
It's about clarity. But like you say, we definitely need to get down to the bottom of it, or at least try to, and really get a better understanding of it. But so what I want to do, right? I want to read something to you, and then we'll just go for now. So I don't know if you caught the earlier part when I was actually breaking it down.
Right, I did. Right. And like you
Yeah,
said, those some big words that a lot of people not really, don't really gravitate to, because it's
yeah,
science at the end of the day.
it's science.
And most people, they understand nutrition on a direct level that's in front of them. Apple, orange, vitamin C, vitamin A, whatever have you. They understand those things to a certain extent. But when you get into the actual science of things and how it goes, it really takes some thorough looking into and some breaking down. That way you can understand, like, hey, this is this process and this how it goes. And then it becomes up to you as a consumer to actually make the decision of, am I going to continue consuming these items, or I'm going to opt to make a better choice for a better option.
That's facts. That's facts. So let me say this first and foremost, man. I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate you building with me. And like I said before, through inbox, I appreciate what you and the wifey is doing, because that's very important. It's very needed. So guys, if you want, you can just kind of give out your information, and they can follow you. Tell the people that where they can follow you at and stuff like that.
Oh,
And
definitely.
yeah, so we can support you more and more what you do. I love what you do with the plants too, man. I'm gonna have to get some plants from you. I seen you was
Oh,
at the
word, yeah. I
yeah,
did a count last night, actually. I got 79 in the house right now.
79. Damn.
79. We did a count last night. My wife actually, she thinks she's Bob the Builder. She actually built another shelf for me, actually today. So she built a
Okay.
shelf, put a whole bunch of stuff together, and we got 79 in the house total. They're all alive and thriving. That's a whole nother story. But
Yeah,
so
that's what
yeah,
we
it's a
gonna
whole thing. I can talk about plants all day, but we talking about these different type of plants right now.
yeah. I
So
seen your plant, I seen your book and all, man.
right, right.
I definitely got to support. So I've been watching, I've been looking. So I
Word.
got
Hey, I appreciate that, man. It's really just about striving and putting the information in front of individuals that's
Mhm.
looking to do something different, that's looking to do something better. And you never know who's into what type of things, because I grew up around plants, and this grew from just being around my father, who was deep into plants and animals and things like that. So this is
Uh-huh.
where this just stemmed up from, and I've just been on it ever since I was a juvenile. So
Yeah.
a
Already had
little
a
bit
little
about
support.
my background and myself. I have a company that's called A Wealthy Mindset, and wealthy spelled WELLTHY. It's all about wellness and the overall approach of being healthy. I consider myself to be a lifestyle healer, and when I say lifestyle healer, it's really just about taking control of your lifestyle to heal yourself and just to stay on top of your health when it comes to the basic functions of your everyday life, no matter if it's your diet and exercise, stretching and yoga, prayer and meditation, or just eating well. So it's that I focus on those traits. That's what my company is all about. And we're all about just helping individuals gain better knowledge of, what's healthy, what's not healthy, and how to make a personalized approach with improving their health, no matter what issues that they might have, whether it's chronic illnesses such as diabetes, high blood pressure, or arthritis, or it's just for preventative maintenance.
Okay.
And a little bit about my story is at the beginning of the year, I was 248 pounds.
Mm.
And I felt my body slowly starting to deteriorate. And just little things are happening. You wake up and your body's not feeling well. and I got my blood pressure taken, and I was stage 2 hypertension. And I
Okay.
decided from that point I was just going to start making some changes. I knew I always knew about lifestyle and eating habits because I've been a chef for 13 years prior. So I
Okay.
started to officially step into this role and start making changes that will better my health. And through my studies and my journeys, I was able to understand lifestyle medicine and how your lifestyle directly impacts your overall health.
Hmm.
And with those studies came the information about, just ways to improve the lifestyle, to improve the health, and how to just uh, effectively adopt preventative measures to make sure you're not dealing with chronic issues that tend to plague us in our communities when we start to get older and sometimes younger. Because if you look at the studies now, the diabetes rates and the high blood pressure rates are starting to increase in the younger children. So my
Yeah.
company, A Wealthy Mindset, again, is all about teaching individuals about wellness and health from a personal perspective, beginning with nutrition and lifestyle. So it's a different approach instead of like Western medicine, where they teach you to just try to eat healthy and take medicine. But it's about actually effectively applying um, actual routines throughout your day that can help you ease stress, move more, eat healthier, and be more conscious of how your day-to-day activities directly affect you.
Powerful. Powerful, King. That's powerful, man. It seems like what we do and what you do, we have similarities. Like it's very, very similar. Listen, I'm not gonna get all into what I do because obvious, you know, this is alkaline environment stream yard. So most people already kind of know, but just to kind of give you a brief understanding, alkaline environment, it doesn't just denotes that your consumption level. We understand that 2/3 of your energy come from the sunlight. So what we do over here is we basically just give you a overall understanding of what it is to alkaline your environment, and that's pretty much involving and indulging in things that just give you a positive, outlook on life, right? So what we'll do if, like, say for example, you was to call in and do a consultation. I would not just directly just say, okay, well, you need to take this and you need to take that. No, I'm gonna go ahead and share with you the other aspects of life that you could be
Right.
indulging in. So when that comes to when what comes to mind is grounding, meditation, sun gazing, sunbathing, going to the beach, breathing in the good prana that's being permeated in over there, and things of that nature. So we just teach other little factors that play a significant role in our lives. And like you were saying, like our lifestyles contribute to a lot of our acute and chronic diseases and
Right.
our illnesses and things of that nature. So it's not all about consumption, right? It's more than it, because 2/3 of your energy comes from the sunlight.
Right.
So we need to be in the sun. We need to be sun gazing. We need to be exercising. We need to be doing all these tangible things so that way we can improve, better health and just be in the optimum health as much as that we possibly can. So, we got the juices and we got the herbs, we got the powders,
Yeah, I
we got
love
the
that.
teas. Yeah, we got the teas, we got all that. We ship nationwide, we do all that. And that's just the basics of it. But to really, really take your life to another level, you definitely want to encourage yourself to, indulge in these different tangible things that I just named. Um, and then, like I said, we got a similar background, man. 4 years, 5 years ago, I was dealing with high blood pressure, hypertension. I was dealing with I was pre-diabetic for a minute, and basically, I just seen a lot of death around me from sickness and close. I mean, I'm talking intermediate family, like my parents type stuff, and it just made me want to just make a change. So that's what I went on ahead and started doing. I mean, I dealt with anxiety for a couple of years, dealt with depression, I dealt with all that. And I had to work myself from being 240 pounds, right, all the way down. So my lowest weight I ever got was like 165. Okay. So, start listening to Dr. Sebi, start implementing a lot of things that he was saying, and I just went from there. So I just been on my journey ever since. And of course, like anybody, we have our ups and downs. But what I do is I just discover information. I come across information. I got some great mentors, and I just put it out there. I put the information out there, and I also put experiences out there as well. So it's just
Right.
not about what I read in the book It's just not about what I read in the article or whatever, or regurgitated information. It's also from what I experience. So I
Right,
speak
right,
of a lot of experiences from the products that I done took, these methods that I teach, in regards to, the lifestyle and things of that nature. And
right.
I just present it to the people, and that's what it's about. So that's just a little bit about me, you know. But that's wonderful, Mom. Can you keep doing what you're doing? Very powerful what you're doing. So what I wanted to do, right, is I wanted to share my screen and just talk a little bit about, because what I do is I take notes and stuff like that. So instead of me just off the dome trying to explain the
Right, right, right.
information, I like to write it down, and things of that nature. So if you don't mind, we can read over here. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah, I can see you just brought it up. Right.
Okay, so this just is a little information between the difference between the two, right? So you got breeding, right? You got breeding, and then you got genetic engineering. So right here it says that for centuries, farmers, gardeners, and livestock breeders have intentionally breed plants or animals in order to combine desirable traits, like you were saying.
Right.
If one type of rice grows well, for example, and another is tastier, a breeder may cross the two in hopes of creating tastier, harder rice, right? Sometimes the offspring DNA will fulfill the breeder's desire. At other times, the traits just won't combine well.
Right.
Nature had other plans. So right off rip, when you're thinking about um, the difference between GMOs and breeding or hybridization and whatnot, you automatically you think farmers, right? You think breeding, you think farmers. That's what the farmers, they're breeding, they're basically making sex with these two plants,
Right.
okay, to get this desirable trait, and they're just hoping, okay, they're hoping that when they combine these two, mate with these two,
It responds to what they're looking for. Right.
exactly. You see what I'm saying? So that right there will be, when man come in and they interfere, that would be the form of manipulation and things of the nature.
Right.
So they manipulate the plants in that way, and things of that nature. So for their desirable traits and things of that nature. But it's no different than, when they breed animals, right? They
Right.
crossbreed animals for
Agree.
a specific reason, like a mule. A mule is I think it's a jackass is one of them that's breeded
Right.
for a desirable trait, because back then they couldn't whatever a horse couldn't do. Okay, they will breed these two animals together. I think it was a horse and a mule, or a horse and a jackass. Don't quote me on it. And they'll breed these two together so they can get this one offspring to do
To
two
do
jobs at once.
what they've been missing out of either of the other parent.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And when you
That's how
got
that
into it,
goes.
like you said, that's been going on for centuries. When it
Mhm,
comes to, you look at dogs and wolves and where they come from. Like, you look at different
mhm,
species of dogs. If the dog has like this loyalty trait, of course they're going to try to breed this dog with another dog so they can continue to get this loyalty trait from this species of dog. So when they do these things, they're looking for this direct trait that's in this animal, and they're doing it to manipulate and actually gain what they're actually looking for.
fair.
And my opinion about it, I think that it's it's a noble thing when it comes to the intention. When it comes down to like food, I want to stick more on food because I guess that's what my nutrition studies have gone. So it's a noble thing. One, you think about it when it comes to like saving the world and having enough food and GMO crops actually to like be sustainable when it comes to disease and pesticides and things like that. When you think about it, it sounds great and they have the right intentions.
Mm,
But genetically, when you do these things, you're taking this one gene and adding it to another crop and manipulating it.
mhm,
Now, this one gene can be responsible for, changes that can affect the crop to make it be less susceptible to weather or damage in different type of ways. But when
mhm,
you take that and add it to another plant, I think personally that from my studies that you really have to factor in how these other genes react and relate
mhm,
to the whole process. So if
mhm,
you take this gene, add it to another plant to make it a more hardier, sturdier plant, yeah, it might respond well and work out for you, just like corn and soy has done.
Hmm.
But I think personally that over time, it would
Hmm.
definitely start to show its face as being something negative because when you think about genes and nutrition, they affect each other directly. So it's
Yeah.
like, it's really something that's, it seems like it's more of a time bomb eventually. Like we
Hmm.
might not, it's not something, GMO is not something that's going to happen next month or 2 weeks from now or 2 years from now. It's
Hmm.
something that's going to eventually grow and develop, and then boom, this is going to be in your face. And
Hmm.
just right now, we're just not ready to see those effects of it. But when you get into genetic manipulation, and those things are, I feel, is something real sensitive that's being discussed in the scientific and nutrition communities because, like when you talk about gene structure, plants have genes just as animals and humans have genes. And
Yeah.
when you start to alter genes and, like I say, play the role of God or creator,
Uh-huh.
things happen because we don't yet know or physically understand exactly what's going on. But
Yeah.
continue, Ken.
Nah, that's a great point that you're making. And I want us to have a separate conversation about that and just just really just focus in on like that specific point because that's absolutely true. And that's the thing. It's like it's not enough tests that has been done. Okay, it's not enough information that has been put out for us to really actually know what's going to happen in the future. And like you
Right,
said, it's just waiting to show itself. And from my research and my studies, that's exactly the point that has been brought to my attention. Okay, and this is the reason why I'm like totally against the GMOs. Okay,
great.
because again, what the biotech companies do is they try to persuade the FDA. They try to persuade the FDA to go ahead and get certain things approved. So when you had genetically modified organisms like the corn, like the cotton, like the soy, and things that nature come about, like it's crazy what the biotech companies will go through. Like they would do
Just
studies
just to
that
get
really
it done.
they
Yeah.
will manipulate the studies. Okay, they will do short studies and things of that nature, and the FDA would just buy in on it because when it comes down to like food and stuff like that, it's crazy to what extent that they would go to. Like they literally will focus on like specifics, like with the FDA. The FDA don't really deal with things unless like okay, if it get to the point, say for example, they approve something and it gets to the point like the L-tryptophan situation. The L-tryptophan situation, like it was so like rapid. Okay, people was like literally like I'm talking getting so sick to the point where it's like it was from this one seller, okay, and everybody who got sick, they was able to trace it back to this
Push
one
it back
seller.
to where it came from. Right.
Yeah, because he was genetically modifying it. And the FDA only stepped in, bro, okay, because it was like
Things
the
started happening. They had
it
to
was
step in.
so
Forced
severe.
to
It
step
was
in.
so
Right.
severe that they had to. So they made a recall. But guess what? All the first recall they did was they changed the milligram. That's all they did. They changed it from 1,500 to 1,000. So they thought that that would make a difference. But even when people were taking it at 1,000 milligrams, guess what?
It was
They
still
still
causing the
they
same effect.
still same effect. So they just went on ahead and just snatched it. You feel me? Did a whole recall on it. So the FDA, with that example, that's what they do. They would actually just wait to shit really hit the fan, and then that's when they would step in. So, like to your point, you were saying we don't know what's going to happen in the near future. It could be 10 years from now, 5 years from now.
Right.
If
Exactly.
it's not an immediate reaction, right? If it's not an immediate situation, they ain't really
Yeah.
gonna step into it.
Right.
EPA,
Exactly.
the EPA the same way. The EPA will only, step in, okay, when something again hits the fan. And
Yep.
that's how it is. So you have all these control groups, so to speak, you feel me, who's supposed to be regulating, the biotech companies and things of that nature. But again, the way they do it, they manipulate it so much to where it's like the FDA just say okay with it. They just okay with it.
Right. And
So
like
that's how they
again,
do it.
that goes to like the nature of the United States as the country as a whole. It's really about capitalism and making money and
Yeah.
advancing because and this is my opinion and I'm pretty sure a lot of people that will agree with it at some point. It's really just about making a dollar because when you look at the agriculture industry, with agriculture, I think it's something like 40% of all agriculture go to waste at some point
Uh-huh.
because one, it's not making it to the store shelf on time. It's not selling off the shelf. People don't want it, or things happen to it with the crops and the farmers. Things happen, so they have to put genetically modified measures at place to try to help certain crops and certain items, just be able to be sustainable for where they need to go and what they need to do. And when you
Right.
look at items like, again, you said corn, soy,
Mhm.
salmon is another genetically modified item that's not discussed and not talked about because of the labels and the manipulation that's there. But all
Mhm.
these items, they're all genetically modified for their specific reasons.
Yes, sir.
And the toughest part about it, in my opinion, is that the majority of genetically modified food and items, they're not directly being consumed from consumers at the grocery store. They're being fed to the animals that we are then purchasing from the grocery store. So
Yeah.
these genetically modified corn and soy
Yeah.
and all these crops, they're
Mhm.
going into the livestock feed. So now
Mhm.
instead of your livestock getting, just regular grains and corns and natural items, they're eating
Natural diet.
GMO foods. And this
Yes, natural
GMO
diet.
that
Mhm.
they're getting and they're consuming, they're taking on all they're taking on all those things that are in turn having some type of effect on them.
Yeah.
Because if you look at these different type of documentaries and videos that give you the inside look at slaughterhouses outside of the inhumane treatment that they're having, but like you can look at it and see that they're having different type of diseases, cow pus, cows having these like large swellings and pus and all these things, and those are in turn come from having a insufficient diet. They're not having a diet that's adequate enough to keep them sustainable. And
Yeah.
what's happening is they're feeding them this low grade food with all these genetically modified items. Then
Mhm.
they're slaughtering them, and all those chemicals from the GMO items, such as all the pesticides that are used to help keep the plant alive, all those
Mhm.
things are consumed by the animal, and then in turn consumed by us as consumers on the table. So it's like it's just a step ahead of what's actually happening. So a
Yeah.
lot of the items that are GMO, they're not necessarily listed as GMO on there because you're not directly consuming it, but you are consuming the animal products that are consuming the genetically modified crops such as soy and corn. So
Yeah.
that's why with my company also we definitely preach a plant-based diet where you're focusing more on whole food plant-based products instead of actually consuming animal products like eggs, dairy, fowl, and meats, because those things contain a lot of chemicals that in turn lead to all the chronic issues that are being displayed on a day-to-day basis throughout our community.
That's 100% the truth. I hope my family out there, the people out there listening, man. I mean, a lot of these topics, people, I don't know, people run away from.
Yeah, it's
They run
I
away
get it.
from them, but this is a very interesting bill, and what the king is saying is just straight facts. It's straight facts, and just to kind of add to it, because I can't take nothing away from what he's saying because it's true. In the case of in the case of cows, basically what's happening to the cows is that cows been they since the 1980s. Okay, cows been injected, okay, with the bovine growth hormone, all right,
Right.
but it's genetically modified. So what happens is what it does is it increases the metabolism of the actual cow, so it makes the cow produce
Right.
milk, right,
Exactly.
like 2 to 10 times more. So what happens is in turn that it rams up, right, the metabolism. It gets the pituitary gland, to just, you know, push growth to them hormones. And one in particular is the mammary glands, right? The mammary glands, because they need the milk. So the mammary glands enlarge, and then the milk production is just overproduced. And what happens is these cows get udder infections. So when they get the udder infections, basically what they do is they inject them, right? They give them, or should I say, they give them antibiotics.
Antibiotics.
Because
Right.
the antibiotics helps calm down the other infections and things of that nature. Now from there, what happens is as immune response to antibiotics and things of that nature, right? The cow discharges the somatic cells, right, aka pus, and that pus ends up in your milk. Now people can try to say that, oh, nah, it's not pus in the milk, but it is, because what they try to do is they try to burn the somatic cells, the pus, and they try to burn the bovine growth hormone.
Right.
Both stayed intact. Okay, so what they did was they went away from the natural 15-second pasteurization, right? Where they, heat it up for 15 seconds and then that'll kill off the germs. The whole pasteurization, process with Louis Pasteur, they went through that. But what they did was they found out that they tried to do it for 30 minutes. So they try to heat up the milk for 30 minutes, because what they were trying to do is these treated cows, they were trying to basically get rid of the bovine, right? The bovine growth hormone, and they were trying to get rid of the somatic cells, which is the pus. But guess what? It stayed intact.
Right.
It stayed intact, and they was only able to burn like 19% of the bovine growth hormone. And also you got the IGL. That's another one. So what happens is there's a bovine growth hormone, you got the somatic cells, aka pus, and then you got the IGF, okay, the insulin-like growth factor 1. All this is present inside the milk. All is present inside the milk. So when they make dairy products, okay, when they make dairy products, you eat the dairy products, you get in the IGF, right? You get in the bovine, right? You get the somatic cells, right? The pus, you getting all that. So what is it telling your insides to do? Exactly. What is it telling? Because guess what? Our pituitary glands and their pituitary glands are what? Chemically alike. Okay, they're chemically the same. All right. So once it goes into your body, you eat this dairy product. What you think is doing on your body? What you think is doing for your pituitary gland? And I tell people all the time, it's already bad enough that you're drinking cow milk or eating cow on dairy products, and you're not a cow, and you're not a cow. So it's already bad enough for doing that. Okay, so you're already telling your cells to grow in a form and a fashion like as if you was a cow. Right. So now you got the cows on 10, right? You got the bovine in there, the growth hormone, you got the IGF in there, you got all this in here. So what you think is happening now? What you think is going to do to you? So I try to explain this to people, and I tell them, I say, listen, childhood obesity, where you think that's coming from? Because what's the whole point of the child, King? It's to grow, right? When the baby come out the womb, from that point on, that baby is what? Instructed, the hormones are instructed to do what? Grow. So if you're giving your baby formula, right, soy in it, right, you're giving your baby cow's milk, right, with all this stuff in him, what's happening to him? That child is growing bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, they do tests on these organs of these cows also. They do tests on the organs of the cow because they want to see the measurements of the cow. They want to see the measurements of the organs, and want to see how big they grow from these hormones. But this stuff is still it's still going on today.
Still being studied, okay? Right, exactly.
So what happens is, like you were saying, to your point, now after these cows have been pretty much used up for everything that they can be used up for, their meat, okay, their bodies go to the slaughterhouse.
Right, exactly.
So now you got the chemicals, okay, like you were saying, from the corn, them being fed corn, them being fed the GMO alfalfa, right? Because that's another one.
Right.
From them being fed the soy or whatever it may be. Now these chemicals, the GMOs are in them. You got the bovine growth hormone in them. You got the IGL, right? You got all this in them. So it goes into your meat. So now you buy the meat. Guess what? You getting all that. So it's inescapable. It's like no matter where you go, whatever corner you go to, you feel me? If you want to deal with dairy products, guess what? It's in the dairy products. If you want to drink milk, it's in the milk. If you want to eat this cow, you want to eat this steak, you want to eat this, you want to eat whatever, it's in there. So it's inescapable, and this is how they're doing it. This is why the top two genetically modified organisms, right, or foods are what? The corn and the soy.
Corn and the soy, right.
The corn and the soy, because guess what? Now this corn and soy are in all your processed foods and all your junk foods. They're everywhere. Every time you look at it, and then it's so many different, so many misnomers for the doggone corn, right? So many, and then you got the don't get into the sugar beets, right, with the aspartame and all that. Come on, man, it gets crazy. My last point I want to make is that what I was gonna say. So in turn, what ends up happening with these cows is these dairy products. There we go. So what ends up happening with the dairy products is you got to think about it. When you look at the pituitary gland, right? When you look at the pituitary gland, you look at the hypothalamus gland, those work hand in hand, correct? So when you think about the responsibilities, that job that they do, you look at the endocrine system, you see the ovaries, right? You see the ovaries. Ovaries are part of the endocrine system. And what else do you see? You see the testicles, right? The genitals. You see this. This is also a part of the endocrine system. So if you're eating these products and these cows are on 10, okay, what you think it's doing to you? So the number 2 leading cause, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the number 2, I think it's the number 2 and the number 3. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Leading cause of death in man is prostate cancer, okay, and it's on the rise. Why? Because you're eating and drinking the dairy products, even when it comes to the muscle builders, and they drinking that wheat protein and all that shit. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
So guess what? Now you're telling you when you a grown ass man, you grown. You don't need to be growthful. Like you don't need your HGH slow down as you age. Okay. So the last thing you need is something like IGF. Okay, telling your hormones, having your hormones send instructions to your body to grow, especially to your organs. All right, and
correct.
Those areas. So if you got a prostate gland and you drinking this stuff, you taking this stuff, what you think is happening? You're creating an enlarged prostate. So enlarged prostate create abnormal cell growth. There you go. That's cancer. Right. When you think about the women, what you think was happening? If the pituitary gland is in control of the reproductive organs, right? The ovaries. What you think is happening? If you drinking the dairy products, you eating the meat, you taking you drinking the milk and all this other stuff. What you think is happening? You are telling your body to produce fibroids. Right. That's what you're doing. Yeah, so the fibroids is deeply rooted into the dairy products and the meat. The prostate cancer is deeply rooted in even with the cyst, the ovarian cyst, even when it comes to the breast cancer, because the mammary glands and the other infections that the cows get. So right then and there, you can pinpoint what's really the cause of breast cancer, what's really the cause of prostate cancer, what's really the cause of fibroid cysts, okay, colon cancer, right, and all these other things. So even when it comes to the pancreas, because the pancreas is part of the endocrine system as well. So you got pancreatic cancer, right? You got all these things. So I touch up all this stuff a lot, and it's crazy to me when I start making these connections, and I'm like, damn, this stuff been around, King, since the 1990s.
Exactly.
It's 1990s. So when we look at it now, we're in the 2000, right? 2020, you can see it. It's like all these things is on the rise.
Right. It's right in front of everybody to see. It's right in front for everybody to see. And you can start with the children. When you look at the young girls, they're developing a lot faster from the things that they're doing. And it's all because of the hormones that are genetically manipulated from the foods that we're eating. And it's not directly done on purpose, but it's done for malicious cause, and it's really just about capital on a financial point for these companies. But the main thing is that when it's happening, the women, the children are suffering from it. They're developing. When you think about it,
the children suffering.
We're the only species that go to another species to consume milk.
Yeah.
A horse has milk from a baby horse. A calf has milk from a cow. A horse, the baby horse has milk from his mother horse. But us as humans, we nurture our child, and then we send them over to another cow to have milk. And it's an imbalance there. No other species in the world allows another species to nurture their seed. Like it showed you that from that point in nature, these things shouldn't be happening. And in turn, we're getting the results that we're actually seeing now with the increase in all these different type of cancers and these chronic illnesses that can be largely prevented by understanding how animal products are affecting our body. Yeah. And again, it all roots back to genetically modified items that are an issue, that are increasingly becoming more of an issue. And it's there, the information is there for people to see and understand, but it's not being brought to the light because almost everything that's commercially processed is genetically modified to some point. The cereal that's using all the corn, the soy that's there, like it's something like 70-80% of soy is actually genetically modified.
It's higher than that, King.
Say it again.
It's higher than that.
It's probably higher than that, exactly. And
it's like I think soy is 90 or something like that.
And the thing is, how can you label everything GMO, 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 GMO? You can't label those things. The people have to go and source their own information also.
But
and
that's
back to an item like salmon, the genetically engineered salmon. Like salmon is an item that is a luxury. People love it. It's a superfood. All the omegas, everything they can actually get and gain from it. Like when you think of the salmon and the things that is going through, it's a large amount of salmon that's actually been processed and farmed and genetically manipulated, genetically engineered. I think the terms for it now is bioengineered. So they're bioengineering salmon at a larger rate. The growth cycle for a salmon is something like 3 years for it to reach maturity. But by bioengineering it, I believe they're crossing Atlantic salmon with I believe another type of trout and an eel to actually generate a larger, faster growing salmon to keep up with the demand for it. So when you genetically manipulate a fish such as the salmon, cause it to grow faster, of course things are going to happen. Things are going to go wrong. Yeah, you're getting the result that you want, but it's financially driven. It's driven for companies to continue to make more money, because what happens with this genetically engineered salmon, one, it grows faster, so you're not spending as much money feeding it to actually get it to where it needs to be. And
so two,
and it's like turning the table. Like you get a bigger salmon that grows a lot faster, the quicker you could get it out, the sooner you could get more in and keep the tables turning. And now the dangerous part about it is it's not listed as genetically modified. It's listed as bioengineered now in some places, where if it even is listed. Now, from my understanding on the subject is that the laws have passed for companies to disclose genetically modified items such as salmon, but they won't be put into place to where they are being forced to actually label it until the next 2 or 3 years. So you're telling me if you're not going to the store and specifically buying, if you go to Publix has like one of the larger grocery store section of seafood, especially with salmon that's there. If you go there and get a salmon and it doesn't say wild caught salmon, it's a chance that salmon could be genetically modified or bioengineered to actually grow faster and develop more. And in turn, we still don't know how this genetic manipulation can affect us in the long run. So understanding that these is a lot of things that are at stake when it comes to GMO foods, and not to mention how restaurants are directly affected. A restaurant doesn't have to tell you anything about a genetically modified salmon or any genetically modified food. Their only obligation is to tell you what's in it and what's the calorie count. After that, it's on you to put it in your mouth. They could grow it in their backyard in the dump and pull it out and serve it, and it's completely legal for them to do so, and under the law. And when it comes down to genetically modified food, the restaurant industry do not have to comply with anything that the supermarkets have to comply with. So if you're going to restaurants and you're consuming certain items such as salmon, corn, and soy items, it can definitely be genetically modified without you ever knowing what's going on or where they're getting it from, because there's no laws or no strict control to manage and handle those things. So you really have to be understanding about different type of GMOs, how it affects the body, and just the industry in general. Because to be honest, I think the person that thought of it had a great noble idea, but in turn, you cannot sit here and do certain things, no matter who you are, to different type of animals and expect the outcome to be a certain type of way without some type of effect. When it's a cause, there's an effect. It's as simple as that. You might not see it in your 3-month or 6-month trial, but eventually there's going to be something that happens, and hopefully it's not something that just go boom in our face.
Go
ahead.
And it goes back to the whole cow situation. And that's how this is how they was able to get a lot of things passed and get a lot of things approved. So they will have, like, say for example, they'll have somebody on the case. So they'll have somebody, regulating and monitoring the cow and really looking for, suspicious changes in the cow, right? So they had one guy and he'll let them know like, hey, look, this is going to take at least 2 years. Okay, it's going to take at least 2 years. We need a couple of milk cycles to come through, you feel me, to actually really see how this hormone is affecting this cow. But guess what? They can't force that. They can't have that. They can't have that happen because it damaged the pockets. Okay, it damaged their pockets. So if the demand is high, then they got to supply it. So they went away with that and they say, nah, 2 years is too long. You feel me? We're gonna just deal with these 90-day studies or these 30-day studies and stuff like that. But within those studies, you can't find really nothing.
Can't find
they can do studies long enough to where they don't really see those specific changes, and then they just go forward from it. Just with the rats, because they do a lot of studies, with the rats and things of that nature. The rats, the span of a rat's life is 2 years. Okay, so in any form, shape, if you want to figure out if a particular product that you're trying to introduce has an effect on a rat, you have to literally test that rat up until the time that rat dies. Okay, but you know what they'll do? They'll do short tests, short studies and things of that nature, to where they right at that point to where nothing really happens. Okay, and they know, okay, this is it. This is, once we don't cross this line, we don't go further than this, and then they'll get it approved. So the thing is with the FDA just leave it in the hands of these biotech companies. And this is the reason, King. This is the reason why most of the genetically modified organisms has been hitting the market like that. You see what I'm saying? So that's just how that shit is going. I want to point out something in regards to that, because the thing is they really don't know. They really don't know what's going to happen. They really don't know, but they just go with the simple fact that, hey, ain't nothing really happened yet. Like I was telling you earlier, unless it's like some type of epidemic that take place. If nothing like that happens, then they just move forward with it. But these are the questions, or should I say, these are the potential. Okay, these are the potential hazards, right? That can possibly happen with the genetically modified. And to me, when you just look at what's happening to people, okay, all around the world, like you can say, okay, yeah, this is actually happening, but you can't really put your hands on it, right? So a lot of scientists, independent scientists and things of that nature who do these studies and do this research and stuff like that, they still haven't really came to the conclusion yet, because it takes a lot to figure out what's going on. But these are some of the things to my left. You can see, right? So it's a increase. This is what GMOs can possibly, okay, cause. All right. This is what GMOs can possibly cause. It can possibly cause increased levels of known, right, naturally occurring toxins. It also can cause the appearance of new, not previously identified toxins. Right. Okay. It can increase tendency to gather toxin substance from the environment, such as pesticides or heavy metals. It can also cause undesirable alterations in the levels of nutrients. Okay, like you pointed out. And I think, so that's it right there. So those four right there. So when you're dealing with the genetically modified organisms and they don't really know exactly what can actually go down, these are some of the potential things that can go down. The increased levels of natural occurring toxins, appearance of new, not previously identified toxins, increased tendency to gather toxic substance from the environment, such as pesticides or heavy metals, undesirable alterations in the levels of nutrients.
And now, one of these things, just to touch on that right there, one of those undesirable properties is that when you look at it, when a certain type of genetic modifications that they make to certain plants, for instance, an eggplant. I know certain species of eggplants, they genetically modify that way, and even with other plants also. I think corn too, they genetically modified it so that it can produce its own pesticide to ward off certain type of insects. So when you think about it, it knocks off any different type of insects and bacteria and viruses and things that can actually plague the crop. Now, when you think of your body is made up of bacteria also, and they're mostly inside of what's called your microbiome. And with your microbiome, it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like your body is like 50-50 in a sense of cells and bacteria.
Yeah.
And with the microbiome, think of the studies that have yet to come out or the independent research that's still going on with how pesticides, or well, I was rather backtrack and say the GMO modified eggplant or crops that actually produce its own pesticide, how that directly affects the person's that's consuming it microbiome. Because if this crop produces its own pesticide to kill bacteria, viruses, and insects, when you consume this same crop, it goes into your gut where your gut microbiome is. What's not to say that it's not killing the microbiome, the good and the bacteria that's there that helps regulates your body's overall functioning system. So
Well,
it's a lot of things that goes into that. And just to add that into exactly what you were saying.
So let me chime in with that. They actually did a study. They actually did a study on the lab rat again with the potato, okay, and the potato genetically modified, right, with the pesticide, with the BT. So what they did was they fed the potato, okay, they fed the potato to the rat, and what they was looking for, to your point, right, they was looking for to see if the actual pesticide, right, or the actual chemical, if it actually stayed, okay, or it actually was present inside the stomach, okay, of the actual rat. And what they did find out was that it did, in fact, indeed stayed intact, like literally, like it went through the entire GI tract. You feel me? Like intact, okay, not like stomach acid, hydrochloric acid, none of that. Okay, none of that stuff destroyed it. So what they found out was, what one of their main concerns was that what it was going to do is it would create the same thing that it's made for, the resistance. So it was saying like, okay, basically their main concern is that if you prescribe somebody to a medicine or a drug, that drug would become resistant, okay, because of that actual chemical present inside, right, inside the stomach, that actual drug that they prescribe for you to cure you will actually become resistant, right? Because of this chemical that's found inside the stomach, it was found inside the GI tract, right? And therefore, you will now not be able to ward off certain infections and things of that nature, and then that opens up a whole case of opportunistic diseases and things of that nature.
Exactly.
So that's one of the things that they found in the rat. So what they try to do is they try to play it and make it seem as if the stomach acid, and also you cooking the food, they try to make it seem like cooking the food
breaks it down,
stomach acid, things of that nature, kind of, pretty much kills the pesticide. But the study that was done in the rat showed different. It showed different. It actually survives through the entire, GI tract.
And I can guarantee that study was done by independent research and not by the company that was actually doing it. I can guarantee
the guy name, you can look him up. His name is Pazzotti. What is Arpad Pazzotti or something like that. ARPAD Pazzotti. You feel me? And you can look him up. And matter of fact, let me give it to you right now. Arpad Pazzotti. So this, you can fact check that.
Right, and it's all about independent research, man. Because the companies, they manipulate the studies the way that they want to go. It's the independent research that you really have to take a closer look at and analyze the data. Because one thing that's for sure is the data speaks for itself, no matter which direction it's going. If it's good, it's going to say that it's good. If it's bad, the data is going to say that it's bad. So when you look at the data revolving around all different type of studies, it doesn't necessarily have to be this one. But if you look at the data surrounding it, the data will definitely reveal to you what's going on. And the main thing is you have to gather enough data. This short-term data that these companies are putting forth is not enough information to actually say what's going to happen when it comes to genetically modified organisms.
Yes, sir. I just showed you. If you can see it on the screen right there.
Got it.
Right. Yeah, man. That guy right there, a biochemist.
Nice.
You feel me? And like he been doing the works for a long time. You feel me? They silenced him too, though. He got silenced. He got quiet. You feel me? They silenced him. He lost his credentials. Pretty much. You feel me? They because he was one of the whistleblowers and on GMOs and stuff like that. He did the studies on the rats and stuff, and it raised a lot of concerns. So that's just some of the things, man. I completely went away for what I had planned, but it's all good.
It happens,
Nah,
man.
because the knowledge you kicking and everything we talking about, man, is powerful. So it's like, hey, why why detour from it? Might as well keep going. What I was gonna say. So for the viewers out there that's watching, right? You got the name down? So
Yeah, we good. Yeah, I got it.
So the viewers that's out there is watching. So if you want to know a little bit more about genetically engineering, these are a couple of notes I took down. So it basically reads this. It says, instead of relying on species to pass on genes through mating, biologists, right, cut the gene out of one species DNA, then they modify it, okay? They modify it and then insert it directly into another species DNA. And since virtually all organisms have DNA, scientists don't have to limit the source of their genes to members of the same species. Okay. They can search anywhere in the plant, animal, bacteria, yeah, and even your ass, even human world to find genes with desired traits or even synthesize genes in the laboratory that don't exist in nature. Okay. So that's the distinction amongst, you feel me, the genetically engineering and what farmers do and stuff like that. Because what farmers do, it actually can happen in nature. Okay, like I was saying with the parthenocarpy and the other one, right? The stenospermocopy, right? Those two, they actually can happen in nature. Okay, with genetically engineering, it can't happen. So just to give another example of that is what I was telling you when we was inboxing each other.
Right.
The tomato. The tomato is definitely like the profound definition of what genetically modifying is. And again, King, they're closely related. So I'm not disagreeing with you, dog. Like they're closely related. You feel me? They kind of manipulate the words, they play around with it and stuff like that. But manipulation is manipulation. It should be done. Nature should be able to do what it does, right? But you got to take into consideration, King, that you have the climate change, the global warming because of what they have done, right? You got the rainforest, right? You got all this stuff taking place. So a lot of these farmers, you got to think about it. A lot of these farmers are kind of forced to do this shit.
Right, I agree.
Forced to do it because when they need certain crops to grow in certain seasons, bro, and they don't do it, okay, they can't get it. It's like, yo, what the fuck you want me to do? You feel me? So the Arctic flounder and the tomato. So what they did was they understood that this Arctic flounder had this antifreeze, okay, gene, this protein. So they actually took this gene, okay, out of the Arctic flounder fish, right? And then they spliced it, they inserted it, right, into the tomato because the whole purpose was to grow the tomatoes, right, in a winter, I believe, right? I guess to keep the tomato from freezing, all right, and dying, basically, right? So that was the whole idea of that. That was the whole ideology behind that. So when you talking taking a gene from a total different species, bro,
right, exactly, like, total different.
That's totally different. Like that would never happen. So instead of them waiting for a fish to come over and be like, "Yo, what's going on, tomato? Yeah, I got something for you." Right? Nah, scientists go in there and do it themselves. That's the distinction amongst what farmers do and what scientists do. Right, so that's how you can kind of like throw that out there and see, okay, well, this is a whole different ball game, right? They can actually sit up there, take a gene, synthesize it, modify it, alter it, change it, do whatever they need to do to get this desired trait that they're looking for. So I just want to put that out.
Good information, man.
Put that out there.
Breaks it down.
Yep. So I've been studying this stuff for a minute, man. And listen, man, boy, my brain be hurt. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of information to absorb.
Because I be really trying to like just get the information like down. I don't want to just present it. I don't know what the hell I be talking about. You know,
Yeah, and like
I really don't want to. I really don't want to do that.
with your information and being able to deliver it the way that you need to the people that need it, because to the average person, they might not they might see GMO and understand it on a surface level, but they don't really know how deep this stuff goes and how it affects everyone as a consumer. And
Mhm.
that's where it really lies at, because at the end of the day, like I say, I think someone had a noble idea of doing it, but you cannot do certain things and not expect certain type of things, consequences behind it. And
Exactly.
that's where the argument with GMO stands with the health and science, because science says one thing. Yes, this me adding this gene to this banana is going to make it look a lot more golden. It's going to have more vitamin A. It's going to be fortified with all these things that are going to make you a lot healthier, or help supply the people that are getting these type of nutrition deficiencies. It's going to give them what they're missing. But in turn, what about the people that are consuming it, that, let's say, a child that doesn't have a nutrition deficiency? That extra fortified banana with the vitamin A can, you might have too much of this actual vitamin in your system that can lead to other problems. And that's just some on a simpler level of just the GMOs. So
Yeah.
it goes a lot of different directions, and you just
Mhm.
gotta really understand what is what, how it goes, and just get your information from a viable source,
A
because
reliable source. Yeah.
it's a lot of
So
information that's out there that goes every which direction, and it's really like going in a rabbit hole once you go down the wrong side.
exactly. So let's do this, King. I don't want to hold up too much of your time because I know I can see right now we could probably just go
Yeah, we
back
do this all day.
like, all day. Um, so what I want to do is I want to, because I went and searched this article. Like I went and looked for this article. I'm like, let me search and find an article that would better help both of us understand, because you, just like me, I always wanted to know, like, okay, the nutritional value of this stuff, right?
Right.
Right? Whether it's parthenocarpy, whether it's manipulated by man, like whether however it goes, I wanted to know. So I found this article when I was doing my search, and the reason why I like this article because it's very unbiased. It's very unbiased. Okay, you
Right.
can tell that they didn't have an intent. Okay, it wasn't a bias type intent. All right, when they was putting out this information, and I like to show people that what I try to do a lot of times I try to look for updated articles, like and stuff like that. So that way you don't be like, well, if
Right.
that
Right.
article came out in 1965 and it's 2020, then
Yeah.
like
No way.
you feel me? It's different. Like information change, shit get
I
updated.
agree.
So this article was updated February 8th, 2019, which is
Right.
fairly new. That was last year. Um, and reviewed by K Uzama, I guess. Uzama, yeah, Uzama. And it basically reads this, right? If you don't mind, we can read, right?
And I can't see it too clear enough to read.
Okay, you can't see it too clear enough. All right. So I'll just read, right? So it say, chances are you tend to worry about the levels of toxins in the fruit you eat more than whether they contain seeds or not. In fact, you might view seedlessness in fruits as a benefit. All right, seeds can be hard to chew, bitter in taste, or accidentally swallowed. Despite these perceived advantages, seedlessness in fruits can also have a few negative side effects. So I wanted to be total honest, because I'm like, let me read this and not try to find an article that's like biased. So it's actually telling you about the negative side effects of seedless fruits. So it's a tip: seedless fruit may be lower in fiber, and you pointed that out, than the seedy varieties. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't include them in your diet. All fruits make a healthy addition to your daily diet with or without seeds, and they're gonna show you how in the later down in the article, right? Further down in the article. So seedless fruits is produced through a process known as parthenocarpy, which means virgin fruit because it's a Greek word, right? Um, it's the process of producing fruits without fertilization, like I was saying. So parthenocopy may occur naturally as a mutation or be induced artificially. So it can be either or.
Right.
Methods used to induce parthenocopy include artificial pollination with altered or dead pollen, or by injecting fruit with synthetic chemicals. So it's a toss-up, right?
Right. Exactly. I see.
So nutritional outcome of seedlessness, seeds and some fruits can be rich sources of nutrients, such as essential oils,
Right.
right? Vitamins and minerals. For instance, grape seeds contain phytoestrogens, which can protect women against heart disease. Seeds are also good sources of fiber, which play several roles in your body, such as suppressing appetite, stabilizing blood glucose levels, and increasing bioactivity. Fruits without small seeds can't provide these benefits. Benefits of parthenocopy and seedlessness. Parthenocopy is advantages in conditions where pollination is poor. For instance, during freezer temperatures, which limit crop productions, like we were talking about.
Right.
Also, it may be difficult for some fruits, such as a summer squash and tomatoes, to pollinate or fertilize. So they got to do what they got to do. You feel what I'm saying? So I don't think it's an ill intent behind it. It's just like, yo, what the fuck you want to
They
do?
got to get it done. Right.
Yeah. So in some cases, seedlessness can enhance the texture and shelf life of fruits, like you pointed out. For instance, in the case of watermelon and eggplant, according to a study published in the journal Nutrition, right? Or Nutrients, I'm sorry, in 2009. So you look that up, and I guess that'll take you to that whole article because it's highlighted.
Right.
Furthermore, seeds, okay, seeds in some fruits such as apples and apricots can contain small amounts of toxins like cyanide. That's why I tell people, be careful. You don't be wanting to be listening to people talking about eat some damn seed.
Yeah,
you don't see, yeah, go get some cyanide. Yeah, you feel me? These seeds can be dangerous in large amounts or when chewed. Now, negative effects of parthenocopy. Sometimes fruits produced through parthenocopy can be mishappen, smaller, and duller, right, in appearance. According to the study published in the journal Plant Physiology in 2007, some species, such as a cucumber, can also be softer in texture when produced through parthenocopy. So this happens on its own sometimes. Additionally, in terms of crop production, some environmentalists are concerned that producing seedless crops decreases biodiversity, which reduces plant species resistance to diseases, like you were saying. They also point out that transfer of genes from seedless crops may cause unmodified plants to become sterile or fail to produce seeds. I'm sorry. Daily fruit intake. Now this is where it gets interesting right here. This last part right here. So it say daily fruit intake. The skin and pulp of fruits are also loaded with vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients, like essential oils, and phytochemicals.
Right.
Fruit skin is also a good source of fiber. So even if you're not consuming seeds, you're still getting a host of nutrients. So that's the part right there. It's like, okay, you tell me what I don't get because of the seed, the seed not present because of it's being seedless, and then you tell me what I do get because of the skin.
Right.
So that's what it comes down to. But again, it's not the seedless thing is a misnomer, bro, because it's not necessarily it's not that it don't have any seeds. It's just that the seed was not fully produced.
Great.
So that's what they call the stenospermocopy, okay? Where the stenospermocopy is where the seed, the plant is fertilized, right? It's fertilized and pollinated, but it's just that the stenospermocopy is the abortion or the aborted part of the seed, so the seed doesn't fully produce. So even if you ever ate a seedless watermelon, bro, you can sometimes see like the little white seeds.
Yeah, you still see a little bit inside of it, right?
You feel me? Even with the grapes, if you really open it, you'll see like
something inside of it. Right, agree.
You feel me? So, I wanted to read this article to you. I was like, yo, he gotta hear this, he gotta see this article. Because it's very unbiased.
Right,
But
right.
we do know that most nutrients are in the skin,
Agree. I won't
right?
argue with that. I do agree on
But,
that.
we know we can eat the seed of the grapes, right? Because um, at the end of the day, you got the grapeseed oil that's made from grape seeds,
I
right?
agree. Yeah, it doesn't have a negative effect on the body, so it's okay
Yeah.
to take those. Right. Yeah,
So so now when it comes to how it got here, like I was looking at this guy, like I was researching. I was doing my homework, bro. I ain't even
right.
gonna hold you. Like you made me go do my homework. I was like, man, I love this shit. I said I love this shit so much. I'm gonna do my homework. So I'm gonna give you something to do, look at. So this dude, okay, this dude called what's his name? William Thompson. Okay. I know you can't see it, but this dude, William Thompson, he talks about how he pretty much got the cuttings. I think he referred it, I think he said it was the cuttings or the grape itself. And basically he took those cuttings from some nursery, but it don't go back further than that. Now they talk about raisins, because I guess raisins and grapes have something close in common. So I didn't even I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't go back like back to that because of the sake of the time. Like we just was talking about this and then I just decided to do a video. But this is a good reference, right? You can go look him up, William Thompson, and he basically says he talks about how he got the grape or the cuttings from the nursery, and then he started to
Right,
grow
he did
grapes.
exactly what it, and that's a form of like grafting. And like for
Yeah,
myself,
grafting and all that.
like for
Yeah.
myself, I do that all the time. Like with plant therapy and things I do around
I
the
know
house.
you have to.
Yeah, I got to. Like,
I say, man, with all these plants, I know he do the grafting. I
in
know
fact,
you feel me?
you do it all the time. And the thing
Yeah.
is, like, you grab, you find a plant that you like. Let's say, for instance, I use my mom as an example. Um, I had a plant that she wanted, and she was like, "Okay, bring me your plant." I was like, I'm not bringing you my plant. I bring you a piece of my plant. That way, you can grow your own plant. So what I did was I actually cut a trimming from my plant that was sustainable enough to travel to her so she can actually plant it and grow her own clone of the plant that I have. And
Yeah.
that's everyday nature. That's simple stuff that can happen on a day-to-day basis. That's totally fine. And but what I believe though is that when it comes to this specific type of seedless grape, my opinion, what I think happens, I'm not sure if I could be wrong, I could be right, I'm not sure. But what I think is that this grape grew without a seed at some point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And someone saw it and it was like, yo, this is great. I'm gonna take a trimming of this and I'm gonna try to replicate this same growth cycle. And this what is supposedly a defect that happened in this grape tree. They took that trimming or that cutting and they actually grew it and they was able to manipulate it and do it again and again and again to actually get it to the point where now they have a whole new species of breed of grapes that can
Yeah.
actually be grown this type of way to actually produce more and more. So
But that's not the cut you king, but I think that's exactly how it went. And because the thing is this, from my research on it, is that when you sell like for an apple, when you have an apple, right? And because remember, these fruits are offsprings of the parents. So you
right,
have a set of chromosomes from the parent, from the mother, and then a set of chromosomes from the father, right? So you have a lot of genetics, like you have a lot of gene
right,
expression taking place. So what they say is that basically when you plant these seeds, right? When you plant these seeds, guess what? You have trees that grow that's totally different, like it's different varieties of it.
agree.
So and then you take the seeds from that, and then now this tree grow a different variety of it because it's DNA from both plants. So it's just doing like whatever they want to do. So basically, one of their whole agendas was to get the same tree. Like I want this same
I
fruit.
want to get this same
Yeah.
specific
So
trait
what
from
we'll, so what we'll do is we'll just take the cuttings. We'll take the cuttings, put them
right,
in the rooting hormone, right? Because the rooting hormone has the enzymes
right,
which promote growth. And then now every time I'm gonna get this same
The
fruit.
same cut. You're gonna get
I'm
the
gonna
same cut and the
yeah,
same. It's
same
gonna
cut,
reproduce the
same fruit.
same exact way.
So in the case of the fruits that we see now, that's basically what we're seeing.
That's what we're experiencing. I agree.
We're experiencing that right now. So I mean, it's just one of those type situations where I mean, like, listen, you can ask the queen, dog, like, man, I was like, yo, because she used to always say, isn't that, isn't that gonna make the fruit less nutrient, like less nutritional and things of that nature? And I couldn't really give her a clean answer. I really couldn't give a clean answer. And I remember I was an advocate for it. I used to tell people all the time, like, nah, that genetically modified. Don't fuck with it. Don't touch it. Do this and do that. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to sound like everybody else. Let me go ahead and do the research.
Get the
My own conclusion, you feel me? So I just been on the search from then, and it's like, I mean, I don't like it because I really even at this present moment right now as we talk, it's still like I'm still trying to. I really don't think I still have enough confirmation, right, to say, well, it's really no different than if we was getting seeds prior to seedless fruits. Like I can't really say that. I still can't say it's no different. Even with reading that article and how they talk about it with the skin having the nutrients and then the seed having the nutrients, I mean, it's still a question mark. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, because right now I cannot clearly say that, yo, this is bad for you or this is going to be some type of way for you. But because understanding the grafting and the propagation process, it's like, yo, you just basically cloning. Now, yeah, it's genetically engineered, but like it's not to the point where you're taking an actual gene from one plant and crossing it. You're just actually you just found a plant with a deficiency.
Yeah,
a trait that's not something that you found a plant with a deficiency was a trait that you desired, and you created more and more and more. And in turn, it might be a little less on the scale, but it's not harmful and it's not doing negative things. It's not like you had to fortify it with vitamins and give it this so it can be able to be on a scale somewhere. Like, no, it just you found a deficiency and you liked it and you moved forward with it.
Yeah.
And that's on my behalf. I think that's okay to deal with. I don't see anything wrong. I haven't ran across enough information that'll make me stop eating green grapes. Because what I do, like I buy the red globe grapes and I buy the green grapes and I put them in a big bowl, and myself and my kids, we indulge as we go. And I always wanted to get more and more information. And when I kept looking into it, I decided to make a post about it. And that's when we tapped in together and we ended up here sharing our information. And what I can say that I really gained from it is that I got an answer to this question that I had, and I was able to share the information that I've gained, and we were able to do the same thing on both levels and put it together. And I think we came out with some positive information for people to be able to enjoy and understand that, yo, this is just a decision that you have to make. And right now, there's no evidence to say that these items that are seedless are detrimental to your health.
Facts. And it's been a long time coming, man. Cause like I say, like every time, me and the queen, or even, like when I first started on my journey in 2014, even when I used to hit the store and it just like listening to Dr. Sebi, man, I run across a great seedless run across, and I'm like, yo, hell no, I ain't touching it. You feel me? So it was something that's been like, it was just on my mind, and it's crazy because I really, I'm hard. I should be hard on myself because I'm like, okay, I could have been, researched this stuff, searched this stuff, and covered this stuff, and really understood it. But I guess I don't know. I got caught up in so many other things. But just to bring the clarity and just really try to get close to the answer or close to the truth is basically all I wanted to do. But yeah, we definitely got to build in the future, if you don't mind.
Yeah, definitely, man.
We can work together. We both in Miami,
right? So we definitely we'll plug in with each other, get some stuff done. And
I gotta
continue. Yeah, listen. Hey, I don't know if you can see from there, but I got this table of new trimmings that's over there. I bought this little table there. It's about I think 5 of them there. I just propagated those last night. Okay. Those is regular golden pothos, but they probably about, I want to say like 16 inches across. Yeah. So I just got those in water from this large plant that was growing by my neighbor's house. He let me come and trim a little bit of it. So I got those in water, and like it's just expression, man. I love plants. It's something I like to do. I try to like reach in with people that are into plants and that wanna like know how to just like keep house plants alive in your house. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people get a plant and just think you gotta water it, and but
Nothing
it's a
more to
little
it.
bit more of a process that you have to understand. But
Yeah.
it's really really easy. And then when people like, for instance, like my mom, she looks at my house like, how do you have all these plants in your house? How do you have time to do this? And now I'm like, Mom, it's a cycle, it's a routine, it's
Mhm.
something that you do, like, you get in the groove of doing, like, it's 79 plants in here, but like, I don't have to water them every day. Like, it's a routine, it's a cycle. They all have a home. They're all in places that helps them grow and thrive. So in my ebook, Beginner Plant Parenting, I just help people understand that, with plants, it's certain important factors about like where they're at, how much sun they're getting, how much you're watering them, and when to repot them that are key to actually helping them thrive throughout your house. I have plants in the bathroom, there's plants by my closet, plants in the kitchen, plants in all different areas in my house where the humidity is different, the lighting is different, and a lot of things going on. So in the ebook, I break down to people the understanding which plants go where, how you can take care of them, the watering ritual that you have to provide for them, and help simplify it for them to understand that, okay, it's the small process of learning, but once you understand the basics of it and have a home for your plant, you can actually be able to actually grow it, develop it, and enhance your skills to move on from one plant to another. Because having a plant is like a tattoo. They say you get one tattoo, you got to get another, right? So when you get one plant, you usually get another, then another, and another. And depending on how you feel about it and your skills and how you develop, you could end up with easily 10 or 15 plants just by, just having one.
Won't even know
And
it.
watching one grow and thrive, that's gonna give you the motivation to be like, I want another one. But it's
Yeah.
nothing like bringing a plant back from the dead. Like, you see a plant that's hanging over, almost about to die, and you follow a nice routine and bring him back to life, and now he's standing strong and he's a centerpiece in your corner somewhere. Those things help keep people motivated, and that's one part of, like, just like lifestyle therapy, where you could actually have something to do, as far as like something that's depending on you, something that's relying on you to actually keep them alive. And it's a study that's out now that talks about how millennials are the fastest growing plant parents.
Mhm.
They're the group that's getting more plants. They're opting to have plants more than actually having children at this stage. And it just gives them a sense of comfortability and nature all in their home. So, and with the Beginner Plant Parenting ebook, it's really just about giving people the information that they need to actually start start being a plant parent and understand what it actually takes, because a little bit of knowledge will take you a long way.
Facts, 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 facts. That's powerful, man. That's very powerful. So definitely want to support you any way that I possibly can. Whether it's just linking up with you and we rapping or buying a plant from you or getting the ebook, however. But yeah, I love plants. I want to know more about them. I definitely want to know more about them. I know they good to have in your house. Like certain plants good to have in your house
Uh,
for um the
Good
negative
for the
ions, right?
good for the air. They're good
The
for all
air,
those things.
that,
What we
yeah,
breathe in is what they breathe out. So
exactly.
it's like a cycle that goes on. Like,
Yeah,
it's that's the fresh air that's keeping
yeah,
the cycle going on in the house. It's
yeah.
good for viruses or bacteria in the air. Plants take care of all that, man. Like, I can't tell
Mhm.
you. Like, it's been probably about 4 or 5 years since I've been sick or been ill or feeling some type of way. And that's
Yeah,
just with diet and lifestyle adjustments and just understanding, like,
yeah.
your lifestyle plays a role in how you feel.
And that's why I be so mad. Like I can't even stomach when I see the news, covering the Amazon. I can't stomach it because I'm
Yeah,
like it's sad. Like the Amazon plays like a major role, right,
agree.
with how we breathe. So it's like just to see that they always talking about how it's burning every second, every minute. This amount of acres burning this amount of minutes every hour and stuff like that. It's just sad
I
because
agree, bro.
we really don't. I don't know. We really don't look into things like that a lot until like something.
Until it's
Yeah,
too
like
late or right in our
yeah,
face.
like you know what I'm saying? When it's a tragic, like when something really, really happened, very that's very catastrophic. And then that's when we want to look into it though, man. But again, man, if that's, you know, if that's all, then again, I like to thank you for coming on, man.
Nah, I
Just
appreciate it, man. And like you said, we'll definitely link up. And like I said, we're both in the same area. Let's just go ahead and network and continue to get this information out to people, no matter what it's about. Let's just keep doing our researching, putting our studies together, and delivering the message. That way, people that can get they can get the information that they need and actually do something with it and make a positive change
yeah.
and just be effective in how they do it.
What you think about what you think about with all this I don't think I get censored for saying this, but I ain't gonna say the word, but with the you know with the
Yeah.
I think I can say the right.
It ties right back into what we were saying. Like, yo, they do all these studies for X amount of time, but like, you don't know the full outcome of everything. You have the studies and the trials have to be a lot longer to understand how something's going to affect people in the long run. Like that's how it goes. Like, so if you put an 8-month, 9-month study together with something that's as serious, as deep as this, uh, I'll be the first one to run around the block and be like, no, 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 this ain't the way to go.
Yeah,
Like it's as simple as that. And that goes with everything. Like you have to do your thorough research, no matter who you are or what you're doing. Like if you're creating a product for someone to consume, you have to know the ins and out of it, how it affects someone and to what degree. And if you don't do thorough research, there can be a possibility where something happened. Like, remember this back in the day, they probably still do it now, where they had this whole mesothelioma thing that was going on.
yeah,
And I could see something happening like in 10 years from now. And they're talking about, if you took this back in there, you could you could be eligible for some type of compensation. And doing research prevents a company from actually having to go through that. And when it comes down to it, it's something going on, and us as a society, we have to deal with it in our own personal way, following our own personal beliefs, and making our decisions for ourselves and our families, because that's what it's eventually going to come down to. So hopefully, people have been serious about this for the past however long it's been going on, since last for the past year now, and they've been making adjustments to their lifestyle, getting healthier, just becoming more financially independent and relying on themselves. Because what's to say that if you don't do or go through with this procedure, that you can't you can't work, or you can't travel, or you can't do certain things, and or your child can't go to school. Like, how are you going to be able to support or sustain yourself if you're not able to do these things? So it's a long, hard discussion that a lot of people have to have with themselves and with their significant others. But when it comes down to it, man, it's a personal thing that people just have to choke up and deal with.
agree, totally agree, man. But and like I was saying, man, let's so if if you want to do this again, then he went out. He went out. Yeah, man, I don't know, man. I guess it's the timing. Because normally I start at 6:30. So I don't know. I guess I think it's the timing. Yeah. Or maybe because I've been away for a minute. Because Friday? That's when I did it, right? Yeah. I did it last Friday. So I don't know. How your day was? Good. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. But listen, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this information. The King was just lighting it up. He deep with it, and that's what I like to do. I like to talk to people who deep, who really have the information, because it helps challenge me. Because if a person can present something I never really came across, then guess what? Now I got something that I need to come across. Now I got something that I need to study. So the King was deep. Y'all follow him, okay? Y'all interested in some plants? As you can see, that's the plant man. Okay, he got the plant kingdom in his crib. So some good information. But before I go, what I want to do before I go, what I want to do is I want to encourage you guys, right? I want to encourage you guys to take full advantage of this sale that's going on. All right. So right now, go on AcalanaVitamin.com and take advantage of this sale. 25% off all items until December 26th. It's the biggest sale of the year. Like, it ain't gonna get no bigger than that. Okay. It's the what the day is? The 11th, the 10th? No. The day the 10th. So come on, that's 3 weeks? 2 weeks. 2 weeks and a half, right? Well, that's 2 full
right
weeks.
There.
2 full weeks.
That's you right there. Where are you?
That's me. I was at an event. So take advantage of this sale, family. 25% off all products. And we still do have the cold and flu deal going on.
My new teacher.
Hold on, ma'am.
My other teacher is Evan. Her name is Evan, like that place.
Okay, cool. So we still have the other sale going on, the cold and flu package deal. Well, you select 3 items. Okay, you select 3 items, and then whatever item is lowered price, okay, whichever item is lowered price, that's the one you get for free. So to give you a quick rundown on that, say you get 3 teas, you get 2 knockout teas, and then you get 1 elderberry tea. The knockout teas are $30 a piece. The elderberry tea is $25. So being that that's a $5 difference, okay, it's lowered price, so you will get the elderberry for free. And as a bonus, we're throwing in 1 ounce of the Baobab powder. That's complimentary. So take advantage of that sale. Take advantage of the 25% off. Like, this is huge. Okay, this is huge. We're doing 2 sales at once. Okay, and we're gonna keep it around because, again, doing, or should I say, dealing with the fact that the time had changed. We're in a different season. Okay, we're actually going into the winter now, so it's gonna get a little different, right? It's gonna get a little bit more deeper. It's less exposure from the sunlight. Less exposure from the sunlight means that it's less productivity or less production of vitamin D. When your vitamin D levels are low, you're susceptible and vulnerable to all type of illnesses, acute diseases, chronic diseases, so forth and so on. So you want to definitely be on your preventable game. You want to be putting the right, foods, the right products in your system, so you can build a stronger immunity. All right, that's what you want to do. So this is the reason why we have the cold and flu package deal, going around and keeping it around for a while, because we want you guys to, prevent. That's what we want, because prevention is the best cure. So please take advantage of that. All right. And it's already been, like, it's been shown, it's been proven. Okay, the studies are out there. Vitamin D deficiency, okay, is what's really bringing in or allowing, this coronavirus to take place or to do damage or wreak havoc. Okay, so again, it was a nice bill. I hope everybody who joined and listened really took something up out of it. It was a nice bill, man. But with that being said, I think that would be it. That would be it. That's all, folks. That's all. I'll see you guys again. I'm glad I got through with this one, though. It's been on my mind. But there's more stuff I want to talk about. We're going to deal with it. So I'm going to leave y'all with Mr. P, man. Listen, don't be going to get them hams for no Christmas. Stay away from them hams and that turkey. Stay away from it. Or we're going to send Mr. P at you. Peace.
Prevention is better than cure. Prevention is better than cure. So protect if you got the antidote. So protect if you got the antidote. Britannia got no fighting power. GA control the universe.
Hold on, wait, you jive turkey. It won't be no gobble gobble or oink oink on the table this holiday season. We eat beans, not beans.
Don't worry, little buddies. Mr. P is here to save the day and get you guys out of here. Always remember, prevention is the best cure. The only way to do that is to eat your greens to receive your protein and alkaline your environment.